Monica here. Welcome to the Data Podcast for Nerds, where we talk to awesome professionals and ask them how they use data to solve the world's problems. So today I have a personal friend of mine, Jaime Hermosillo, and welcome. Thank you so much for coming on my show. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on your show.
Absolutely.
Excited to help you propel your dream here.
Yes, thank you so much. So let's start out by telling us about yourself and what is your origin story, because we're all nerds and I like to hear people's origin stories and how they got to where they are today.
My name's Jaime Hermosillo, and my origin story is I grew up as a kid, like that typical nerd kid that wanted to learn how everything worked. I would take apart electronics when I was younger and I'd put them back together, and often I would fix things. It was more often than not I was able to fix things, like that classic ITT Tech commercial. My dad was pissed when I took apart his drill, but I was the kid that put it back together and it worked better, So I grew up playing video games. I loved doing like nerd stuff. I loved math. Math was like my favorite subject in school, which is like weird to people, I guess if you're not a nerd, right? I grew up just loving that stuff, and I kind of drifted away from it when I joined the military. But after I got back out of the military, I went to school back into electronic engineering, and I realized how much I loved it again, and kind of ended up in a space where I kind of joined the two, like the security of military and electronics. So that's pretty much it.
It's funny how like your childhood dreams and aspirations kind of like follow you throughout, and even if you get sidetracked and go do something more serious, you kind of find yourself back to where your childhood again.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. If you follow your heart, man, that's going to take you to where you were as a kid, right? Because that's when you knew what you liked, right? And as an adult, you start to try to develop skills on different things that everybody tells you this is what's going to make you money. And then as you progress, you're like, this isn't making me happy. And then eventually your child heart comes out and you're like, well, this makes me happy. And then you kind of start building skills and working towards something that's going to work and make you happy, like it's going to bring you in the money you need to survive and also bring you joy.
So that's so true. That's awesome. So true. Last week when I was preparing to record my podcast episode, I had like one of those like core memories resurface. I used to like record podcasts when I was a kid, like on the tape recorder. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I would press record and then like, oh, hey, welcome. It was a radio show back then because podcasts weren't a thing, of course. But yeah, I had my own radio show and I was having a blast. And so I was talking with somebody and I was like, you know what? This was like a childhood dream of mine that for some reason I just never decided to do it because of your fact where it's like nobody makes money, but it's like just do it anyways because I'm having a grand old time doing it.
Yeah, well, your things come full circle, and yeah, if you're having fun, I think the like what's that quote? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, right? So like if you're pursuing something that you love and you can get by in the meantime until it takes off, that's awesome.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's congratulations on fulfilling a childhood dream.
Thank you so much. One thing you mentioned earlier that I wanted to ask about, you said that when you were a kid, you used to take things apart, but then rebuild them. How did you make sure that you rebuilt them properly? Like, did you take pictures about like what it looked like before or just from memory?
So this was really dumb because this has bit me in the butt a couple times, but I would just take it apart and I'd remember certain portions of it. But then it's really hard to remember every little screw, every little piece, right? But I would take it apart and then I'd look at it, and this is where like I guess IQ takes in, right? Because I'd be like, what makes the most sense? Okay, I remember this, I remember that. And then I'm like, well, this doesn't look right, right? And it was just looking at the thing, and that's usually how I fix things. Is because I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. This isn't how this little piece that I'm trying to put in isn't supposed to work like this. So let's put it together in the most logical sense. And I would be able to reconstruct something and it work. And if it wasn't working the way I thought, then I'd be able to go back and troubleshoot and say, well, it's not working that way because of this. So it was like all based on memory and just kind of like common sense or IQ, just being able to make some sense of something, like kind of reverse engineering, I guess.
Absolutely. Critical thinking.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. And that's, a core skill for just any professional, really.
Oh yeah, it's helped me along the way. I've built a lot of my professional career on being able to think critically, and yeah, it really has. It's helpful in your life, and if you can practice it, I guarantee it's gonna help you everywhere.
Speaking of professional careers, can you tell us what is your current title and what do you do?
My current title is Senior Manager, Security Systems. And while it started off, I was a security technician for Banner Health. And as I said, my critical thinking helped me propel my career. And so now I get to find new technology, use my skills and my knowledge to implement like some of the most advanced technology they use in hospital systems for security. So I manage our camera systems, our card access systems, and our intrusion systems. We also implemented like thermal technology to take temperature scans during the pandemic, and also using weapons detection systems to kind of keep our patients and our staff safe. So I get to manage all this technology, test new technology, run pilot programs. We even have infant abduction system that prevents our infants from getting stolen or misplaced in any way. It keeps track of them throughout the hospital and lets us know their exact location and if they're anywhere near any kind of exit where an abduction could take place. So,
fascinating. Yeah. Is that done through like the wristbands or whatever?
Yeah, we'll put bands on either their wrist or their leg.
So you're a super technology nerd, it sounds like. What is your background, like your formal education?
Formal education, I got an associate's degree in computer and electronic engineering technology. That's about the formalist education I got. Everything else was learned in the field. I joined a security company when I was back in 2009, and I just started learning the technology and using my background in electronics to kind of understand the way it works, and kind of basically just made my way up the ladder until I'm here, So that formal education was just kind of a stepping stone, I guess.
Awesome. Now, with you being a super security nerd, what is your role with data? Like, how do you define and work with data?
So for me, data is like kind of the quintessence of learning and growing, right? So data, everybody uses it, right? From a kid, it's all input. Remember that movie Short Circuit?
Yes.
It's one of my favorite movies. That's like one of those things that like really got me. I want to take things apart. I want to build something. I want to build that guy, And it was more input was his, like, they need input, and I'm just like, that's me. And that's everybody, as you're growing, that you need input to learn. From taking your first steps, you got the input of knowing that you're going to fall if you don't put your foot in front of you, And so for me, it's just, that's what data is being able to receive something, make sense of it, and then use it to grow or learn. And in my field, I think the way the data comes in is being able to interact with people and know what makes them feel safe. And then being able to understand this technology and take in the different technologies there are and then be able to choose the best one using the data that you have available. And that's like locations of the hospital, that's patient count, the amount of instances that have happened in that area, or like you just all those little factors that you kind of put down on paper and say, this is what's going to work best for this hospital or this location. And that's basically how we use it here.
So I have a bit of a cybersecurity background, a little bit of a physical security background as well. And I always find it fascinating that data is everywhere. So there is an overlap, although you wouldn't think so because you're, heavy in the security field, and you think physical security, there wouldn't be any data involved, and there absolutely is.
Oh yeah, we use it so much. We have teams dedicated to taking this data and putting it on paper so we can look at it and say, this is what we're going to need here, and it really does help. And being able to, observe the data and then turn around and use it, kind of puts the technology where it needs to be, rather than, saying, oh, I mean, I'm sure you've walked into like a restaurant or like just like a mom and pop shop, and they have cameras everywhere, right? Like they have a million cameras, and you're like, this is kind of overkill. This is too much. You know what I mean? Like you don't need this much. You know what I mean? Where are your entry points? That's an important part, because that's if somebody's going to break in, that's where it's going to be, right? Where are your cash handling stuff? Because if somebody's going to steal something, that's where they're going to steal it. Having an eye on every corner of this store is not going to help you in the end. It's going to actually use up the memory you have on your recorder, or putting motions all around and they're overlapping is just a waste of money, right? And so here you take that data and you're saying like, okay, so we don't use these entry points so much. We just need a basic camera here. But this entry point is used a lot. We take in most of our guests here. And so now this is where you want to put the focus of most of your cameras or most of your technology. And then you can then step it up a bit and start using analytics to kind of count the people that are coming in and see where they're going. So in hospitals, most hospitals, people come in and they need the most help in our emergency department, right? That's where people need the most help. But it's also a place where their patients is tested in the emergency room, and some people get, escalated. Their moods escalate, and that's where we tend to see some more violence over other parts of the hospital. And so there we make sure that our security officers are rounding in there, and that we have cameras set up in there to kind of keep an eye on there, and make sure that staff is trained in de-escalation. So all these little factors in security technology that you just don't think about. You think cameras and card readers, keypads and stuff like that, but there's so much involved in it that it really does help to know what's there and know what data is coming in, so that you can best, receive the threats.
Data is everywhere, and analytics are used in every organization and in every space.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in your brain, you're born with analytics.
This is very true. I need to turn mine off sometimes. I analyze things too often.
Oh, yeah. Same. My brain, sometimes I'll be up at night, just thinking, and you're just like, all right, you're way out there. You need to just go to sleep. Close your eyes, go to bed.
Yep. I do things like cooking math, right? Mm-hmm. And then time math, like you need to be somewhere at this place, and then you move backwards and figure out when you need to start getting ready, and then when you need how you plan your day and all of that. It's a lot. There's a lot of analytics going on up here.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it.
You talked about the social aspects of just your what you do on a daily basis and whatnot. And that makes me think of our fun bits section. Okay. Fun bits. What do you do as a side gig? I heard you like to make companies and work out.
Yes, I'm super social. I love doing anything outdoors. I love anything where I can use my hands and learn stuff. I play volleyball. I go hiking. I do carpentry, and I'm a handyman. I feel I can fix anything. I love doing photography. I make cakes, and I'm also a cosplayer. So there's a lot to choose from, but I think the thing that I love to do most is like the most social aspect of my life is the company that I helped build with a few of my friends, including your husband. In it, LLC is it kind of covers a whole lot. Like our motto is life is an adventure, get in it, and so that social aspect of my life is probably one of my favorites. And yeah, we use it to run our volleyball league. You've been on a couple of our hikes that we've done, which I need to do more of. And
yes, I agree. The weather is like just in the right place right now where I think we need to go out more.
Absolutely. I heard you guys have some good places to hike up there.
Oh my gosh, Phoenix has so many good hiking trails, like all over the place, everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that I need to do is use data input to kind of decide who's going to be able to do the hikes that we do, right? So have hikes for certain platforms of people, right? Oh, beginners, intermediate, and more intuitive hikers, I guess, where I think we did a hike and it was Incinerator Ridge, and some people were very, very aggravated at the fact that we did such a hard hike.
That's, a perfect way to incorporate data with hiking. They have that type of statistics on different websites, like the hiking websites of like the easy, moderate, difficult.
Yeah. More so the difficulty of the hike, so that you can warn people ahead of time. Hey, this is the difficulty of this hike that we're doing. So if you want to come, just know that this is what you're in for.
How do you think that makes you a better professional by like setting up the company and bringing that social aspect to, getting people to join in on the fun?
So for my career, I think it really helps show that I can dedicate myself to something without any kind of gain, right? Because in it doesn't really make much money. We do it just for fun, for it to appease ourselves. You know what I mean? And so we put a lot of time and effort into organizing these volleyball leagues or these hikes, and with no expectation in return except to kind of hang out with people and promote our company a little bit and kind of get people outdoors and having fun and socializing. That's our big thing. That's my big thing. That's what I love to do. I love meeting new people. When I was at Burning Man, I loved working at the bar. I'm not making any money working. I just get to meet people from all around the world and discover new things about them. And in saying that, I think that the social aspect of my company or my hobbies really helps me to understand people and their fears and the things that make them feel secure, and how these systems that I work on could better improve their, the lives of the people that work here or the people that are visiting the hospital, as well as the ways that they make them uncomfortable. So I know that, this is, if I put a camera in a space that you're working, you're not going to be happy because you don't want to be watched. But if I put a camera that watches the entry to the space that you're working, it's going to make you feel more comfortable because you feel like that entry is being watched, and you can go about your day and not have to worry so much about watching the door yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that socializing with people and being able to learn their fears and the things that make them comfortable really, really helps me at work, especially because it helps me to be more social at work. I can go around and talk to people. I like to introduce myself. I'll take about 15 minutes a day and I'll walk around the hospital and go meet new people, just so I can kind of get their idea of what their gripes and their loves about working here,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just meeting people and being able to understand them really helps me out with securing this multiple facilities, because I'm in charge of all of Southern Arizona.
Wow. How many locations is that?
We have four major locations. For me, it's we have Banner, Maine, or that's Banner, Tucson, Banner South, which is the old Keno Hospital, and then the our new outpatient facility and cancer center up. We call it Banner North on Campbell and Allen. And then last year they gave me the keys to Casa Grande, so I've been handling the facility in Casa Grande. And I also got asked to manage a project, a new build project up in Scottsdale. We're building a new sports medicine facility for pro athletes. So it's kind of cool.
So you mentioned that when you start your day, you talk to people, find out what they're liking, what they're not liking. So that sounds like that's how you like to learn new things, right?
Yes.
So how else do you like to learn new things, whether that's like a new topic in your industry or if you have to do like a certification or whatnot? What are the resources that you use to learn?
Google. We have different vendors that like to reach out to us and kind of introduce their technology. And if something catches my eye, then I go to Google and I start looking up this technology. And if they have courses available on their sites, I'll take them. Lately I've been kind of focusing on building my leadership abilities, just because it was something that like really kind of struck me as I love helping people. I love socializing. I like, helping people become better versions of themselves because I like helping me become a better version of myself. And so luckily my company really offers a lot of educational tools on their platform that allow me to learn about leadership, learn I take these different courses that kind of teach you how to manage teams and talk to people and kind of develop your emotional intelligence. So I like to dive deep and kind of read or attend conferences and stuff like that kind of introduce you to different things. When I was a security tech at our security companies, they used to send us to these big conferences where we could go and put our hands on the new technology that's coming out. And I used to love that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very hands-on. I like to hold it, feel it, and kind of take it apart a little bit and understand how it works. Yeah.
Take it apart, of course. Are you freaking out the vendors or stop touching it?
Oh, I've had people tell me, you don't know what you're doing, and I put it back together and okay, we got it. I'm just trying to learn how it works. There's a lot of parts to this, and I want to know what they do, because if I ever have to troubleshoot this, then I'll know, before I take it apart, what the possible problems of it could be.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you gave something, I just built this, and the person you hand it to just starts taking it apart in front of you? Hey. That's me.
Stay away from this guy.
Oh, don't let him touch your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my approach to learning, is just kind of diving headfirst into things.
And you mentioned Google, that's literally, it's a skill that people should use more often, to be honest. There's so much you can do, and it's a skill that you can make better to better help yourself.
Yeah, and I take advantage of their their common language ability to find things, right? I remember you have to use parentheses and brackets and just to find different things on Google. But now you can just go in and be like, why are woodpeckers' beaks so long? And you can just type that in and it'll give you all the answers right there. You know what I mean? It's really simple to learn, and it's nice because you don't have to turn to somebody and say, hey, do you know what this is? You can, what this is, Yeah.
Other than being able to Google things effectively, do you have any other recommendations or encouragements for the listeners?
Take things apart. Take things apart. I mean, everything, everything in life, be able to dismantle stuff, even if it's just in your head, reverse engineer, take pictures, and kind of understand how things work. If you get a better understanding of how the smaller things work, and then how that component goes into bigger things. And this is in everyday things, right? Like even just being able to understand people's emotions, or being able to understand how this small component works. Eventually, you're going to learn how the component works. Then you learn how the entire board works. Then you kind of know how the whole machine works. And that's not just speaking in technology. That's speaking in everything. You go to one person. If you have a group, as a leader, you have a group. You have individual meetings with each person, and you learn how that person works. Then you learn how the next person works, and then you learn how they work together, and then you learn how this team works, right? And it's with everything. Take it apart, break it down to its smallest component, and build from there, rebuild from there, I should say. And I think that's for me the best way to learn.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for coming with me and being a guest on my podcast. Where can we or the listeners find you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn under Jaime Hermosillo. I have my own photography page on Instagram. It's called Jaime Ariel Photography. Ariel, like the Little Mermaids. And then In It Life, if you go to initlife.com, you can find us and our links to our volleyball pages and adventure pages. Bear with us because we're still building the website. But yeah, those are the different places you can find me.
Awesome. And I'll have those in the show notes so everyone can find you. And once again, thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
And as always, folks, happy learning.